Joining us now, Margaret Talev, CNN political analyst and managing editor at Axios, and Stewart, CNN political commentator and a Republican strategist. Ladies, great to have you here. Margaret, the bombshells keep coming from Bob Woodward's new book. Jamie Gangel brought us some excerpts of it, and we knew that there had been a conversation where President Trump had pressured Vice President Pence, but we didn't know, frankly, that it wasn't Mike Pence that had the spine of steel. He called former Vice President Dan Quayle and said, "Is there anything I can do? You don't understand the pressure that I'm under." And Dan Quayle said, "No, Mike, no, there's nothing you can do. You have to listen to the parliamentarian." I mean, it's just a fascinating new insight into how that all went down.
Yeah, Alisyn, I think that the excerpts that are out now as part of the early rollout of this book, combined with the reporting that they have done, that we have done over the last several months, gives us so much insight into both the president's, former president's mindset about trying to pull troops out of Afghanistan by bypassing the system, and the president's plans to try to bypass the democratic system to try to stay in office. And we're talking about all of this against the backdrop of this California recall. Like, look, if you live in California, you know the lay of the land. You know it's about half Democrats, about a quarter Republicans, the rest are independents. You know that if a Democrat retains his office, it doesn't mean that anything was stolen. But that debate and that conversation, that whipping up of an audience, of a base, just days ahead of another protest scheduled for the Capitol, essentially to commemorate the January 6th protesters, that is what is driving so much concern. And the excerpts of their reporting shows why. Because the former president was quite intent on using any lever he had or thought he could try to have, and to try to pull everyone in his wake in to assist that effort.
Well, listen, it seemed to work, and have taken over the party, Alice. There's this poll from CNN that shows the question here is, how important is it for you to believe Donald Trump won the 2020 election? 59% of people believe that that is required to be part of the party. I mean, 3 out of 5 here think that's the cost of admission to be a member of your party. Where does this go on, a few days ahead of this rally for January 6th?
Let me just say, Victor, I don't know any of those people in that percentage, because most of the people that I speak with in the Republican Party, the rational-minded people, recognize the fact that we had free and fair elections, and Joe Biden is the duly elected president, and there was not widespread voter fraud. And we should not have
that's a small minority, though.
Exactly. But the key moving forward is that, for all intensive purposes, Donald Trump is the de facto head of the Republican Party, and the base of the party will continue to rally behind him and stay behind him, but we need to grow from that. Politics is a game of addition. We need to grow from that. And I think what is concerning is what we're hearing in the excerpts from this book, is that there's been a sense during the 2020 election, Donald Trump, for some purposes, stayed in his lane and was able to be someone that we could trust, that wouldn't step outside the lane. But once he lost and wouldn't accept the results, the guardrails were down, which is why we had people like Mike Pence come in, General Milley come in, and concern about what he would do. And inciting the insurrection was a bad outcome, and it should not have happened. And the more concerning information that we're going to hear out of this book is the links that people had to go to with regard to the president's efforts to try and withdraw troops from Afghanistan without full input from the military.
Yeah. But Alice, on that note, I just want to ask you, because what we're seeing in California seems like it's a blueprint of the Republicans' new game plan for elections, which is try hard to win. If you don't win, claim immediate voter fraud, and then try to install Republican loyalists into state positions that could fudge the results somehow. And then if neither of those things work, take up arms and go for a violent protest in the nation's capital, as we'll see this coming, as Capitol Police fear we'll see this coming weekend. And so, I mean, what do you think about Larry Elder already claiming voter fraud? That just it seems to be the new Republican mantra instead of losing.
It's a bad formula for defeat. And look, it didn't work for Donald Trump. It did not work in Georgia for the 2 key Senate races. And it's not going to work here in California. And when this recall does not go through, it is because of Larry Elder and not Governor Gavin Newsom. This was supposed to be a referendum on the governor and his failed leadership with COVID. And it's become about Larry Elder. And the fact that, as you say, he is already acknowledging that he may potentially lose this and is going to blame it on voter fraud is ludicrous. California has 2-to-1 Democrats. Of course, early voting will be in favor of the Democrats, but in this recall election, this should be about not just turning out the base that Larry Elder really caters to, but those Democrats and independents who have been frustrated with Gavin Newsom. Those are the people that need to come out. And with this nonsense about voter fraud before any vote has been counted is not going to get people up and vote.
Well, you say nonsense, they see strategy, and we'll see how far this goes once the votes are counted, actually. Alisyn Stewart, Margaret Talev, thank you both.
Thank you.